Welcome to the History in Focus channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this one. A man has a tooth pulled by a dentist in France in 1890. The scene shows the rudimentary methods of dentistry at the time, when extractions were done outdoors and without modern anesthesia, with simple tools and great courage. In 1963, backstage during The Birds, Tippi Hedren had her cigarette lit by a trained raven. A surreal scene worthy of Hitchcock, where even birds shared the screen. A gigantic and endangered golden-crowned flying fox spotted in the Philippines. With a wingspan that can reach nearly 6 feet, it is one of the largest fruit bats in the world. On this forest trail, a giant moose appears like a mythical creature. Standing up to 6.9 feet tall at the shoulders, these northern giants impress with their real-life grandeur. This red cloak belonged to Giovanni Battista Bugatti, executioner of the Vatican. Between 1796 and 1864, he took the lives of 514 people, with the blessing of faith and the weight of justice in his hands. In the Netherlands in 1945, hunger killed 20,000 people. Children carried spoons in their pockets, clinging to hope. Decades later, science revealed the trauma affected even those not yet born. This Siberian armor from the 19th century was made for bear hunting. Covered in metal spikes, it protected the hunter in hand-to-hand combat, a true suit for extreme survival. Halloween in the early 1900s, handmade costumes, strange masks, and a gloomy atmosphere made the celebration far scarier than fun. An era where creativity was as striking as the mystery. The Stygian owl with eyes as red as embers seems born from a nightmare. Silent and shadowy, it watches the night like a guardian of the forest's darkness. Microscopic photo of an ant's face, revealing stunning details the human eye would never see. The textures, compound eyes, and mandibles seem straight out of a science fiction film. This is the heart of a blue whale, weighing over 400 pounds. So large that a human could crawl through its arteries, the engine of one of the planet's largest beings. On the seashore in France, this giant sculpture of a sea serpent seems to emerge from the depths. With a metallic skeleton, it blends art, mythology, and awe in the coastal landscape. In the Gulf of Mexico on August 20, 2020, multiple waterspouts tore through the sky like celestial claws, a rare and terrifying display of nature's fury. In China, a 328-foot spiral staircase in the Taihang Mountains challenges the brave. It sways in the wind and demands stamina, but offers an unforgettable view at the top. Curled up like a living shield, this centipede protects her offspring with her own body. A rare and powerful scene of maternal instinct in the world of invertebrates. The inside of a leatherback turtle's mouth, revealing rows of backward-facing papillae, adapted to grip slippery jellyfish. In November 1944, during the liberation of the Philippines, an American soldier feeds a Filipino baby. Amid the chaos of war, a rare gesture of human care crosses borders and uniforms. A man holds a 10-megabyte hard drive from the 1960s, more impressive for its size than its capacity. At the time, storing data was literally heavy and took up half the desk. The hammer-headed bat is the largest in Africa, with a wingspan of up to 3.3 feet. Frightening, it has been associated with Baphomet and mistaken for legends like the Jersey Devil. But it is 100% real. At just 16 years old, Irish artist Shania created this pencil portrait with details so realistic they resemble a photograph. An impressive talent that defies age. This is how bone cancer can deform a human skeleton. The structures become irregular, fractured, and covered with abnormal growths. A brutal record of the disease in its most aggressive form. Every letter of the alphabet carved by hand into the tip of a pencil lid. A microscopic feat that demands patience, precision, and tremendous talent in miniature. This rainbow reticulated python looks like it came out of a fantasy tale. Its iridescent shine is real, a natural phenomenon that turns this snake into living art. Easter, 1955. The bunny was supposed to bring joy, but this terrifying costume scarred a generation. Not even all the eggs in the world could make up for this childhood trauma. Measuring 13 feet long, this sturgeon swims in the waters of the Kennebec River in Maine. A living prehistoric giant, a remnant of creatures that ruled rivers millennia ago. Vasily Arkhipov, a Soviet Navy officer, was the man who prevented the launch of a nuclear torpedo from submarine B-59 during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, possibly avoiding nuclear war. In 1992, actress Jenny Joseph posed holding a torch to create the iconic Columbia Pictures logo. Dressed as a goddess, she became one of the most recognizable symbols in world cinema. A diver found a 900-year-old sword, possibly from a Crusader knight, on the seafloor off the coast of Israel. A direct leap into the Middle Ages. This is a complete human nervous system, hand-dissected by two medical students in 1925. A feat of extreme precision, revealing the complexity and delicacy of the body's command network. This enormous flag belonged to a Spanish ship that fought in the Battle of Trafalgar. Laid out on the ground, it reveals the grandeur of 19th century ships and warfare. In Tokyo, 1935, a soba delivery man balances dozens of boxes on his head while pedaling. Agility, precision, and balance that became an art form on Japan's streets. The largest crystals in the world were found in the Cave of the Crystals in Naka, Mexico, about 984 feet deep. Some exceed 39 feet in length, stunning formations born in extreme conditions. These gloves belong to Persian warriors, possibly from the Safavid dynasty around the year 1500. With sharp points and ornamental details, they combined beauty and lethality in a single combat artifact. In the shadows of Holy Trinity Church in London, a statue of Lucifer bound by ropes appears to defy the sacred. Fallen but still proud, it is a dark reminder of the rebellion that began in heaven. Before and after the storm, this lighthouse in Michigan transforms into a surreal ice sculpture. Winter's fury covers it completely, freezing time in pure beauty. In 1899, a woman drank from a shared cup at a public pump. A common habit at the time, before the risks of contamination were understood and public health standards emerged. Long before the famous distracted boyfriend meme, the 1950s had already given us this classic version of the distracted girlfriend, and her expression says it all. Soldiers in 1941 peel onions wearing gas masks to avoid tears, a curious and clever scene from military life during World War II, where even small annoyances required creative solutions. With wings that exceeded 33 feet in span, Quetzalcoatlus northropii was the largest flying animal in history. A predator of the skies that would make anyone feel tiny. The hands of an Olympic rower after 621 miles of training. Each callus, wrinkle, and mark reveals the harsh reality behind glory. A body shaped by discipline and the force of extreme repetition. In 1957, Sophia Loren gave a memorable side glance at Jane Mansfield's daring neckline. The moment became one of Hollywood's most iconic shots, pure tension and elegance in one photo. Young Barack Obama dressed as a pirate alongside his mother at a Halloween party in Hawaii in 1964. A rare and relaxed image from the childhood of someone who would become President of the United States. Rare photo of Ted Bundy as a child next to his mother, Eleanor Louise Cowell, during an ordinary day at the beach. Years later, he would become one of the most feared and studied serial killers in American criminal history. A 2,000-year-old Thracian chariot found in Bulgaria, preserved alongside the skeletons of the horses that pulled it. A rare and striking testimony to ancient funeral rituals. The majestic baobab can store up to 32,000 gallons of water in its trunk. A true natural reservoir, it is a symbol of survival in Africa's driest climates. Giant prehistoric plants known as Dendrosenekio kilimanjari grow on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. Adapted to the extreme climate, they look like they belong to a lost world and can live for over 100 years. The Cantalloc aqueducts, built about 1,500 years ago by the Nazca people in the Peruvian desert, still function today, carrying underground water to agricultural areas. Uncle Fed was born in 1792 and died in 1907, at the age of 114. He lived across 3 centuries, witnessed the Industrial Revolution, the abolition of slavery, and saw the world go from oil lamps to electric streetlights. British author Eric Arthur Blair photographed in 1940 during his work with the BBC. Known worldwide by his pen name, George Orwell, he would become one of the great names in dystopian literature of the 20th century. This is a rare photograph of the opposite side of the Hoover Dam before it was flooded in 1936. The image reveals the grandeur of the newly completed structure just before Lake Mead was formed. Original Coca-Cola cans from 1936, shaped like motor oil containers with funnel-style tops. They were sold for picnics and trips when canned soda was still a novelty. Life-size replica of a titanoboa swallowing a crocodile. This prehistoric snake, considered the largest ever to exist, had its fossils discovered in South America in 2009. The titanoboa measured about 46 feet long, 31 inches wide, and weighed over 2,200 pounds. Young boys working in a coal mine in Brown, West Virginia, 1908. They spent the entire day underground guiding mules and opening tunnels with ventilation traps. This vehicle is the German Postal Electric Omnibus from 1899, one of the first electric public transport units used by the German postal system. An impressive image from the dawn of electric mobility. This petrified tree trunk in Arizona is 225 million years old and has turned to stone with the appearance of opal, a natural reliquary that transformed wood into gem over geological eras. In the 1980s, some groups of rebellious Japanese youths adopted the visual style of 1950s American greasers with slicked back hair and defiant attitudes. A Scottish farmer is seen in 1921 fitting a horseshoe on a horse with smoke rising from the contact between the hot iron and the animal's hoof. Elvis Presley alongside his father, Vernon, and his grandmother, Minnie May, during breakfast in 1959. A rare family moment captured at the height of the King of Rock's fame. Margaret Ann Neve at 110 years old, photographed in 1902. Born in 1792 and passing away in 1903, she was the first confirmed person recorded to have lived in 3 different centuries, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. Allied troops board ships during the Dunkirk evacuation in 1940, an operation that rescued about 330,000 British and French soldiers from the beaches of northern France. African-American pioneer family proudly posing on the U.S. prairie in the 1880s. A rare and powerful record of perseverance in challenging times for Black communities recently freed from slavery. 2 Navajos transmit secret messages during combat in Bougainville, 1943, using their native language to encode battlefield information. Cemetery of the 4th Marine Division in Iwo Jima, 1945. Nearly 7,000 American soldiers were buried there after one of the bloodiest battles of World War II. During World War II, drag show performances became a popular form of entertainment among American troops stationed in Britain, offering lightness and laughter amid the chaos of war. Belgian canary chicks with a curious trait, feathers on their heads that resemble stylish hairdos. These birds are selectively bred for their unique plumage, making them popular among breeders and exhibitors. A homing pigeon is released by a soldier through a hatch on the side of a British tank during the Battle of Amiens on August 9, 1918. Amid the noise of war, these silent birds carried vital messages between the lines. In 1956, a canal in Venice was completely drained for cleaning. The scene reveals the workers' hard labor and shows the hidden side of the city of canals, mud, debris, and history rising from the depths. Mobile church built on a Ford T, driven by a priest in the United States in 1922. A curious combination of faith and mobility in the age of automobiles. A woman walks among smoldering ruins during the Battle of Berlin in May 1945. Her lost gaze reflects the collapse of a devastated city and the brutal end of World War II in Europe. This armor belonged to Philip II of Macedon, father of Alexander the Great. Richly decorated, it survived the centuries as a symbol of the power that preceded one of history's greatest conquerors. This impressive fossilized rock was found in the Gascoyne region of Western Australia. It holds marine creatures that lived 280 million years ago, a natural cemetery frozen in time. A Catholic priest celebrates Mass for American soldiers on Omaha Beach, Normandy, France, in June 1944. Shortly after the D-Day landing. Vertical parking structure in Chicago, 1938. A clever solution of the era to save space in crowded urban centers. Eva Kor survived Auschwitz and forgave her tormentors. She lost her family upon arriving at the camp, but chose peace over hatred. A woman who overcame death with courage and compassion. This 15-foot dugout canoe was found in Lake Mendota, Wisconsin. Modern technology revealed it to be about 1,200 years old, a preserved trace of ancestral indigenous engineering. Each red mark is a grave at sea. This map reveals Japanese ships sunk during World War II, a haunting reminder of the brutal scale of that global conflict. In the depths of Allegria, Cebu, a submerged statue of Medusa mesmerizes divers, a mythical guardian among the corals where myth meets the ocean's mystery. The face of one of the first modern humans, based on scientific reconstructions. According to the Mosgaard Museum in Denmark, this is how our ancestors may have looked around 160,000 years ago. The dodo, extinct about 400 years ago, became a symbol of the consequences of human actions on nature. This replica shows the appearance of a bird that never knew fear until it was too late. Women and men worked between rows of artillery shells at the National Filling Factory in Chilwell, United Kingdom in 1917, a time when Britain's military industry was largely powered by women. John F. Kennedy in a selfie-style photo in front of the White House in 1962, an informal and surprisingly modern image for the time, reflecting his charismatic presence even outside official speeches. Prisoners freed from a Japanese concentration camp at the end of World War II. Their weakened bodies reveal the horrors of hunger, captivity, and the human limit of endurance. In New York, the Fat Men's Club gathered men proud of their extra pounds. To enter, one had to weigh at least 198 pounds, a club where the scale was the ticket in. Map of the New World dated around 1504, one of the earliest known representations of the Americas, showing the first European attempts to chart the newly discovered continent. In 1979, this giant concrete door was used as a shield against the world's most powerful continuous fusion neutron source. Extreme science required equally impressive barriers. Trapped in amber for 54 million years, this tiny lizard was frozen in time with perfect details. A living fossil that links past and present in a golden capsule. In 1953, King Farouk of Egypt, exiled and irreverent, proudly showed off his curves on the beaches of Capri, Italy. A king without a throne, but full of style. A miner from Northumbria is shown having his nighttime meal in 1937. The simple scene, with clothes drying overhead and utensils hanging on the wall, reflects the harsh routine of a working family in pre-II England. In a field in Lima Township, Michigan, the local university unearthed the skull of a woolly mammoth. A colossal discovery, buried for millennia and revealed to the light of history. Two youths climbing, two elders descending. This image sums up life's journey in a moment. Love, time, and the inevitable passage of years, all in a single click. An East German soldier hands a flower through a crack in the Berlin Wall in 1989, shortly before its fall. Gene Bauer walks along 6th Avenue in New York City with a Dynatac mobile phone, accompanied by John Mitchell, the Motorola engineer behind the invention. This 1973 photo marks one of the first public cell phone tests in history. a soldier from the 369th Infantry Regiment of the United States, also known as the Harlem Hellfighters, an African-American unit that fought with bravery during World War I, defying prejudice and leaving a historic legacy. A Vietnam War soldier's helmet with a handwritten message in 1967. "War is good business. Invest your son." The iconic Flatiron Building in 1903, one of the first skyscrapers in New York. With its unique triangular shape, it defied architectural norms and became a symbol of urban modernity in the 20th century. This is the Beilong Elevator in China, the tallest outdoor elevator in the world. Standing 1,070 feet tall, it was embedded into a cliff and cuts through the Zhangjiajie landscape like a futuristic bridge. Aerial view of the legendary Woodstock Festival in 1969, gathering over 400,000 people in an iconic celebration of music, peace, and counterculture. With an astonishing 5,500 carats, this is the largest emerald ever recorded. Valued at over $115 million, the giant stone is a raw spectacle of nature carved into pure luxury. From above, Centurup in Sicily appears to have the shape of a human being. The city has ancient roots, and its curious geography continues to intrigue historians and tourists alike. In 1892, Dr. Gustav Zander created one of the first gym machines in the world, a mechanical back massager. It was the embryo of what would become modern fitness centers. Newsstand on the busy streets of New York in 1903, with signs advertising cigars and newspapers, capturing the daily life of the city at the start of the 20th century. Sailors and pilots from the USS Constellation enjoy the sun along the sides of the flight deck in the Gulf of Tonkin in 1966. Amid the tension of the Vietnam War, a rare moment of relaxation aboard an aircraft carrier. Chand Baori in Rajasthan, India, is a stepwell over 1,300 years old. It contains 3,500 steps arranged in perfect symmetry and a subterranean tunnel approximately 10.5 miles long. Armenian female guerrilla fighters photographed in 1895. They represented armed resistance against the Ottoman Empire during a period of increasing persecution of the Armenian people in the late 19th century. In 1972, during the Apollo 16 mission, astronaut Charles Duke left a photo of his wife and children on the surface of the moon, a family portrait that remains there to this day, untouched on the lunar soil. In the 1950s, lipstick testing looked like this: kisses on bald volunteers' heads. Beauty science could be unusual, but it ensured durability and plenty of laughter. One of the first aerial photographs of Paris, taken in 1919, reveals with striking clarity the urban layout of the city shortly after the end of World War I. Paris, June 1934. Salvador Dali stares into the lens with otherworldly eyes. Beside him, Man Ray. Two surrealist geniuses frozen in a moment, as strange as their works. Bruce Lee teaches martial arts to little Brandon Lee in their kitchen at home in 1960. An intimate moment showing how a master's legacy begins from the earliest steps, with discipline, care, and precision. Written on goat skin in the Ge'ez language, the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest, most complete, and most illustrated in the Christian world, a spiritual treasure that has survived intact for centuries. Office of Notary Roy Bean, which also served as a saloon. Texas around 1900. Known as the law west of the Pecos, Bean judged cases based on his own sense of justice. During an Elvis concert in the 1960s, a fan leans back in pure ecstasy, a moment that captured the intensity of the fever for the King of Rock. The cornerstone of the Pyramid of Amenemhat III, dated between 1860 and 1814 BC, has survived for millennia, a rare fragment from the peak of Egyptian engineering. In 1989, around 2 million people joined hands to form a 373-mile human chain across Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, demanding freedom from the Soviet Union. Lyudmila Pavlichenko, the most lethal sniper in history, photographed in the 1940s. With 309 confirmed kills, she became a legend of the Red Army during World War II. Greek helmets from the classical era, stored in the collection of the Olympia Museum. Each piece bears marks of battle and time, silent witnesses to the ancient art of Hellenic warfare. This frozen scene shows the exact moment a frog died while trying to devour a venomous spider. A brutal reminder that, in nature, the line between predator and prey can vanish in an instant. Aerial view of the famous Blue Dragon River in Portugal. Its winding curves and the contrast with the dry surrounding terrain create the striking silhouette of a dragon, attracting photographers and curious visitors from around the world. The Castle of Coca, located in the municipality of Coca in central Spain, was built in the 15th century and is considered one of the best examples of Spanish mudéjar architecture, combining Moorish and Gothic elements. This tree trunk tells more history than many books. For 1,300 years, it witnessed the world change, from Muhammad to the American Revolution, until it was felled in 1891. One ring for each era. Lawrence Brooks was the oldest World War II veteran, living to 112 years. He served in the Pacific Theater and is remembered for his longevity, service, and optimism. A couple walks peacefully on the deck of the Titanic on a morning in 1912, unaware that they were aboard one of the most iconic and tragic ships in history. The fossil of the largest prehistoric freshwater turtle ever recorded was found. The size of a car, it ruled rivers millions of years ago. Three boys pose with serious expressions after years of work in textile factories. The photo, taken in January 1909, reveals the harsh conditions faced by child laborers in early 20th century America. In 1954, Godzilla removes the mask and sips tea between scenes. Behind the monster, an exhausted actor. Behind the film, the trauma of a nation marked by the atomic bomb. A huge submerged statue named Underwater Atlas, located in the Bahamas. It stands 18 feet tall and weighs over 132,000 pounds, representing a titan supporting the ocean, like a modern version of the Atlas legend. In Arkansas, one of the largest quartz crystals in North America was found, valued at an impressive $4 million, a rarity that drew global attention. The oldest door in Great Britain, made with wood from an ancient Anglo-Saxon abbey, is about 1,000 years old. Still standing firm, it has survived time as a silent guardian of medieval history. The exposed skeleton belongs to a Basilosaurus, an ancient marine predator that lived around 40 million years ago. These fossils were found in Egypt, in the region known as Valley of the Whales, a site of global archaeological importance. Assembly of the Statue of Liberty in Paris, 1883. The image shows the metal framework and panels being positioned before its journey to the United States. An employee tests copies of the Beatles' Rubber Soul album in the quality control room at the EMI factory in London, 1965. Among mud, dead trees, and smoke, Australian soldiers marched through Chateau Wood during the Third Battle of Ypres, a colorless hell where every step was a fight for life. A 2,000-year-old Roman silver dagger found by an archaeology intern in Germany in 2019. The impressive transformation came after 9 months of meticulous restoration of their own bodies. A moment frozen in nature. A pike became stuck on a branch while leaping to catch prey and died. Over time, a bird built a nest inside the predator's gaping mouth. In the late 1800s, a train traveled along tracks carved into the edge of a cliff in Temas-Sopa, Mexico. Engineering defied death, and each trip was a test of courage amid precipices and jagged rocks. A boy sitting on his porch in Ohio, 1908. His torn clothes, sad face, and hand on his head powerfully portray the hardships faced by many families during that time. The force of a hurricane is so brutal that it can drive a wooden plank straight into a tree trunk as if it were paper. Nature, when enraged, knows no limits. Terracotta die from the Indus Valley Civilization, found in Harappa, present-day Pakistan. Dated between 2600 and 1900 BC, This small object reveals that gambling or board games were already part of daily life in one of the oldest urban civilizations in history. Arnold Schwarzenegger and his training partners at the legendary Venice Beach, California, during the golden era of bodybuilding. An iconic snapshot of youth and strength that shaped the myth. Chief John Smith, a Chippewa leader, claimed to have lived 137 years. His appearance and wisdom made him a legendary figure among Native American peoples. A coal miner's family in their company house in Pursglove, West Virginia, September 1938. The harsh conditions are visible in the dirty faces and clothes of the children, a raw portrait of working-class America in the 20th century. Refueling in 1974 cost only 48 cents per gallon, a nostalgic image of a time when the oil crisis was already beginning to change the course of global consumption history. In 1900 in Lancashire, a knocker-up woke clients by tapping their windows with long rods. Before alarm clocks, this was the service that ensured punctuality in the factories of the Industrial Revolution. A spearhead pierced a human bone during the Gallic Wars against the Romans and remained lodged for over 2,000 years. A couple who met at Woodstock after 48 hours and stayed together for 50 years. From a festival of freedom to lasting love, 2 photos, one unforgettable story. Medical students in Kabul, Afghanistan, attentively observe an anatomical model during a class at the Faculty of Medicine in 1962. Ancient entrance to the Great Pyramid of Giza, photographed around 1890. This rare image shows Egyptian workers and Western explorers during a time of intense archaeological excavations in Egypt. Dracula's legendary castle, in ruins in Romania in 1930, looks like it emerged from a Gothic nightmare. Silent and somber, it holds echoes of tales, mixing myth and fear. In 1940, a cat escapes its transport box in front of the Boston Animal Rescue League. The unusual scene captures a moment of feline rebellion in the middle of urban rescue routines. Like a spell from Wonderland, mushrooms sprout from the pages of Alice, as if the book's madness had come to life. A classic that continues to bloom in the imagination. In the middle of a courtroom, a man kneels and begs his wife not to go through with the divorce. Love pleads, but the decision seems already made. The top of the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt reveals ancient blocks that defy time. A rare view of the pinnacle of one of the greatest mysteries in ancient engineering.